Just when America has reached a breaking point with division, visionary influencer Danni Benson's I'm Proud of You Sis bro movement taps into the pulse and heartbeat of a culture radically torn. But this loving mom's voice of reason and calm has received national recognition.
How'd you balance having your children and always traveling with the Yankee organization?
When I became a dad, I said that I would always love like a mother.
I feel like I have to try certain things or act a different way because I know some people or some kids.
So join Danni Benson as she celebrates her special guests on her show and highlights their gifts and contributions to our world.
Hi, everyone. My name is Danni Benson of I'm Proud of You Sis. Please like, share, follow, and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope everyone's having the best day ever. I have my co-host Kevin here. We're gonna wrap up the current events that are currently happening right now. We have our own opinions, our own take on things, but I'm sweet and he's sour, or maybe he's sour. I don't know. But Kev, I missed you, Kev. How are you?
Yes, please fan me with all of this applause. I need it. You know, my love language is words of affirmation. I need people to tell me I'm doing good,
You're beautiful,
that I did great, that I'm beautiful,
smart,
that I have a nice smile,
you have a nice smile,
that I'm smart, that they like my dimples. Well, they're really parentheses.
Oh, yes.
They started off as dimples and they became parentheses as I got older. So I need that.
Have you ever shaved off your complete beard?
I have. It's strange. It's strange when most black men shave off their complete beard, which is a fun fact in Hollywood. That's the look they want black men to have. They want them to be clean shaven. They always have them shave off all of their facial hair. Apparently, the facial hair makes us look too edgy and dangerous.
Really? But I thought the facial hair made you guys look so, sexy and appealing.
Listen, that's what I'm trying to say, girl. I feel sexy and appealing. But you know what? Right? You know what wasn't sexy and appealing, though? That Love Is Blind. All that craziness that's been going on over there. What is going on with this show? What is going on?
Well, let me tell you something. I actually saw the season finale, the reunion yesterday. My God, I don't think I would ever go on that show because I feel that you have to have some sort of an attraction to someone.
Yeah. Well, the chemistry. Danny, the premise is insane. The fact that you're meeting somebody without meeting them, you're essentially having Zoom with no camera footage. So you're getting this bond, this emotional bond that's supposed to tie you forever. And we see issues with it in terms of the black school principal, the 25-year-old who looked like he was pushing 40, when he finally got to see the girl, she was a white girl. And he was just like, I've never been with a white girl before. And you can tell that was a deal breaker for him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how cool you are. I don't care how much of a soul tie we have. I'm not into white girl. I can't bring you back home to mama.
He said it too. He was like, I don't know what my family would think, my friends would think. And I get it because there could be cultural differences. And sometimes black mamas are like, hey, don't. It's not happening. It's not happening.
First of all, there's cultural differences amongst black people, let alone black and white. Because Caribbean blacks and American blacks, two different types of blacks.
two different types. And that's why, when people lump us in one thing, like African American or we're black. No, we're not lumped into one thing. Everyone comes from different areas. That's why I want to be defined by my ethnicity as opposed to just putting us all in this we're African American, because we're not all African American. I'm Haitian American. Yeah. Where are you from, Kev?
So my family's all Jamaican. We're Jamaican American. But you know what's interesting? As you say this, Danny, it reminds me of this quote. You know me and my quotes.
Yes, I love
this
quote.
Quote from the Tipping Point author, Malcolm Gladwell. He said, in the country of America, Americans, in this country that we live in, Americans is only used to describe white people and everyone else has to hyphenate.
Wow.
When you say American, you're talking about a white person. But if you want to talk about you and me, we have to say
Haitian American,
Jamaican American, African American. You have to hyphenate. Americans are white, everyone else is hyphenated.
I never thought about that.
I never thought about it either.
Honestly, I don't know why my kids were born here. I mean, I was born here too.
But they're still not Americans. They're African Americans.
They should just be Americans.
Nope, Americans. Because when you think about even us, when we think Americans, we probably think white people first. You know, maybe not, maybe so, but everyone else has to hyphenate. If you want a specific, I can't just call the Chinese
like
guy
Latin American, like you can go. They say Chinese American, Muslim American. Oh wow, I never thought about that before. I wonder how many generations. Well, African Americans were here for 400 years, so they've been here for generations. So
we were here for 400 years, but I mean, I wouldn't read the Yelp reviews for the first couple of hundred. You know,
I know
it wasn't a good time.
I know,
had a good time.
And it wasn't a good time, and sometimes that's why I feel like history is so important.
You have to know it so you don't repeat it. You know, like the people in Love Is Blind.
And also it's like if you're ashamed, the reason that you have to know your history is that the parts that you're ashamed of is the parts that you don't want to repeat again.
Yep.
So the fact that you want to erase it, then that's
what's happening. It's happening right now, as you know, in this country, specifically in the state of Florida, where they are pushing or they're making what happened. They're either not talking about it or they're speaking about it almost as if it was like a fiction. Like, oh yeah, slavery wasn't really that bad. It's like, what do you mean it wasn't that bad? It was the worst thing.
It was bad.
Happened to black people.
So many people died during slavery. I mean, you died for the most stupidest things. You weren't paid. You had to eat like the worst. Like basically had to eat the leftovers. That's why they have things like.
And we've spoken about this before, and the biggest difference between, so we won't talk about it too much. We'll get back to the fun stuff. Love Is Blind. We know you guys like the fun stuff.
Yes.
But we've spoken about the slavery issue before. The difference between American slavery and the rest of the world, I'm not saying the rest of the world was any better, but if you want to compare them, they were better. Because in the rest of the world, the idea of slavery wasn't an infinite thing. It wasn't Danny, you're a slave. That means your twin daughters are going to be slaves. That's not how it was. It was, you're a slave for this time period. Only in America where it was, you're a slave, your kids are going to be slaves, their kids are going to be slaves. And that's what made it even more barbaric and horrible. It's like they literally Derek Chauvin'd us. You know, they had their knee to our neck for all these generations. Imagine being born into something that was horrible, but you don't realize how horrible it is because everyone around you has only experienced that same thing. And you know that your kids coming after you are going to experience that same thing. And you're going to die knowing that. You know, for a lot of those slaves, there wasn't this is going to get better. No, this is it. And that's what it was. Murder, She Wrote. I mean, luckily we had some really strong role models in the Frederick Douglasses of the world, the Harriet Tubmans, the Nat Turners that went and led revolts. But again, we're not going to go too deep. Slavery in America was horrible. So why ignore this history or act as if it never happened, when if you teach it to people, yes, it's going to create a divide, but it's better to weaponize people with the right knowledge, because so many people make big mistakes when they don't see the whole picture. Once you see the whole picture, you can start making better choices and better judgments. But a lot of people are living piece by piece. You're dealing with a word puzzle. You're going piece by piece, not a word puzzle, but like just one of those puzzles. You need to see all the pieces. You need to see all the entire game. You need to know how far you've come
to make it make sense.
You got to go, and to make it make sense.
To make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
That's why sometimes when I speak to my white counterparts, they don't understand certain things. I'm like, you don't understand it because they're not teaching it to you at school. Yeah. How are you going to have an empathy of what a race of people went through if you don't teach it in school?
And it's not going to happen for them, it's just not, because it doesn't need to. What was interesting about what happened to get, this is a super sensitive topic, so I will tread lightly. I'm going to talk about the attacks in Gaza on October 7th, which led to all this other crazy stuff that's happening. But what's interesting is that attack led to stuff, but other things led to that attack. This has been going on for decades. And me speaking about it to my Jewish friends, my Palestinian friends, when it first came out, all over my timeline, all my Jewish friends, everyone was talking about the different sides. What side are you taking? Mm-hmm. For the Jewish people, they were all posting, there is no other side. There's only one side, which of course that says a lot. That's a powerful message, which is one of those things where I get what you're saying, but I don't necessarily agree with it, because if there's a conflict can't just happen between one person. That's not a conflict.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a conflict. There has to be another side. So let's stop that. There are two sides. There's clearly two sides. And then, you know, once I started like posting things, I have a lot of Jewish friends. I'm in not only the entertainment industry, but a huge part of my business, what I do is in the Jewish entertainment industry. So
I have a lot of Jewish friends.
I know a lot of good people, like
I know,
great
I
people.
know good people. Yes.
You know, so of course I'm going to stand with Israel and side with them. But at the other end, I know a lot of Palestinians. And not only do I know a lot of Palestinians, more importantly, for us as Black people, for what's happening over there, they're treating the Palestinians like how Black people were treated. You know, even worse because they have way more weapons.
The only thing I feel that two wrongs don't make a right. And I feel that there's over 30,000+ Palestinians that have died.
Yeah.
Half of that
is insane.
It's children and women.
It's insane, Danny.
And my thought is this: I understand, you know, Netanyahu says that we have to do this. We have to keep fighting until we get every Hamas. But my thing is, it's like I think you created more Hamas.
Yeah.
I think you created more people. These kids are going to become. You're breathing terrorism in these kids, seeing their mother die, their father die, their siblings die.
We've all seen the movie, the story, the revenge story. You know, these kids are going to grow up. And how do you think Hamas got started in the first place? From kids that were hurt
that were
and
younger
were
and then grew up, and then they were
what Israel did to that country bonded these bad people together, people that we now speak to as bad. I'm sure they started off with good intentions. You know, that's how things like that begin.
Look, what happened on October 7th to the Jews is inexcusable.
You know,
it's inexcusable what happened to them, and there's still hostages that are under Hamas.
Yeah. Which is insane.
And that makes it crazy too, because I keep telling Hamas, like, let the innocent people go. Like, don't keep them as
you say you keep telling Hamas let them go. Who you calling over there, Danny?
I don't know.
Bro, you on the news again, bro.
You know what it is? In my prayers, I keep
I get you.
Hamas will let, you know, all the hostages go, because maybe you let them go and then you could start talking about like a ceasefire, because Israel is not going to have a ceasefire as long as Hamas has control of these hostages.
Really quick, you said something really important there. How often do you pray, Danny? Because for me, I'm not going to lie to you, I couldn't tell you the last time I prayed. Like for me, it's like
I pray all the time.
All the time, like multiple times a day.
I have conversations. I have conversations with God all the time. He's basically one of my best friends. I talk to him. I feel him.
It's tough. I used to tell people all the time, I tried talking to God. I don't think he was listening to me. I don't think he likes me very much.
First of all, he does like you.
Listen,
look how blessed your life is.
You're right.
You have everyone goes through trials and tribulations. Sometimes I feel like earth is really the hell.
Yeah.
And when you die, you go to heaven. I think earth is the hell.
Wow. And this is where we're working out different things, you know. Oh wow.
Yeah, this is where all the pain and suffering is happening right
now. This is us pledging for our Greek fraternity and sorority. This is our pledging process, having to live on earth amongst other human beings. Because the earth is fine. The only thing bad about earth are the humans. You know, everything else is fine.
It's us. It's us. And then we have like the 7 sins. What is it? Envy. Greed,
gluttony.
Like think about it. If there's a saying like treat others the way you would be treated.
Yeah.
I think
so many people don't understand that rule.
No. But if everybody if that was like a law of the land and that was the rule, there would be peace on earth. Yeah. Nobody wants to get killed. Nobody wants to get robbed.
Danny, listen, we can speak about peace on earth and pray for it and hope for it, but the big brother's never going to want peace on earth. That's when they make the most money, is when there's not peace on earth, because war is expensive. You know, I don't know. I couldn't tell you the numbers, but just to dress a United States soldier with that gear, the backpack, the boots, all that stuff, that's being manufactured and made from a company. These companies like to be in business.
Yes, war is profitable. That's why with the Ukraine war, with the Hamas war, there's companies out there that's making so much money because on the military artillery, the bombs, the bullets,
War is not going anywhere. War is not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere.
But I feel like there's better ways to solve problems than just killing people.
That's true. You know,
just killing people. What does that? What is in the day and age that we live right now, 2024?
Yeah.
What is killing people resolve?
So I don't believe killing people is the answer. But this is a very small but. I do think there's too many people on this planet right now. There's way too many. Like
really?
some of them need to go somewhere. There's too many people. There's too many people.
No. It's because you live in New York City.
Look, about to say, have you ever tried coming out of Brooklyn? Have you ever tried driving out of Brooklyn around 4:30? Way too many people in this world. All right, some of them got to go.
Everyone, look. Let me just tell you.
You need that Thanos snap. Some of them got to go. There's too many people in Brooklyn.
Where I live in Long Island. To go to the city is 34 miles.
Listen, you good over there.
I have family who lives 6 miles away from Manhattan. It will take us the same amount of time. They'll tell me I live far away, but I'm like, but it takes us the same time. You live like 10 minutes away from Manhattan, but it takes you like an hour and a half. Like
Danni, that's why we need war. So we can start opening up the traffic. Without war, we're gonna have too many people in these cars and in these streets. We need war.
Well, you know what's going to happen? This inflation is killing us right now, so people ain't going to have no kids anyway.
Yeah, that is true. People have been cutting down. People have been cutting down. You heard that phrase? There's that phrase. I'm probably going to mess it up. It's called a doink. Dink. Double income, no kids. So now you have people that are together. They're like, yo, I like you. You like me. Let's kick it. Let's be together. You want to get married? Let's get married. You want to have kids? No, I'm good off of that. I like what we got going on here.
And they both feel that way. They both in agreement that they don't want to have kids.
Correct. It's called a dink. Double income, no kids. And these people are thriving. They're going out there and traveling the world because
they're having fun.
Especially with the emergence of social media, you're seeing like the world is such a smaller place now. You know, all those borders on the maps are getting colored in. We know what to expect. We could go on TikTok and plan an entire trip within 45 minutes. What I'm going to do in Asia for the next 30 days, just from looking at TikTok reviews. Real quick, go on YouTube and watch a 4-minute video about Spain, and now you already know what you're going to do in Spain. You know, and if you don't have any kids, you don't have to worry about childcare, doctor's visits. All you have is
or school. Because what messes me up with traveling is the school year.
Oh yeah, I mean the academic calendar.
I have to travel based on when they're off. And when they're off, all the kids are off. So everywhere we go, it's crowded with just kids and family.
And then travel. You travel with these kids. People don't realize you can travel with your child up to the age of 2. So once your kid turns 2, I didn't realize when they said up to 2, I thought it was from when they're born till 2. No. 2. Once they turn 2, they cost full price.
That's it.
So that first year and
we were traveling all over the place.
Oh yeah, you best believe my son was in Jamaica when he was a couple
all
months.
Over the place. We were like traveling all over, and I had 2 of them. So they would be like, I was like, yeah, we're flying again because there's gonna be a time that these kids are gonna be like an adult seat. So if a ticket is $400, if a family of 4, it's $1,600 just to travel.
What we gonna do when we get there? I have to use all my money to get us here. What we gonna do now that we here? We gonna stay in this hotel room and take advantage of all the amenities because we ain't got no money. We don't got it. We have to get you out here.
Well, you know what? There's a pool in the back.
Good. I hope y'all love that pool because that's the only thing you see in Jamaica.
Yo, having kids is
it's different.
Expensive.
You best
I'm
believe.
Letting you know right now, it is not easy having kids because I don't know how they did it back in the day. They had 5 kids, 7 kids, 9 kids.
Danni,
what
my mom is 1 out of 10. My dad is 1 out of 11. Myself, I'm 1 out of 9. But I will say that's my mom. She only had twins. My father, very Jamaican of him, decided to try to repopulate the earth. That's on him. It's on him. Could you believe this man had the audacity? Audacity. Yes, I'm talking about my father right now. I don't care. I'm gonna talk about this man. Out of all 9 of his kids, I have this. I'm a spitting image right here.
Really?
Yes, spitting image.
Wow.
That said, man had 9 kids. Can't say he was really there for all 9. Fast forward, he's an older man now. He gets a little sick earlier this year, 2024. This is March right now. I'm talking. This is earlier this year. It happens, and he texts his ex-wife, who I'm very close with. Lets her know all the kids that have checked up on him since he was in the hospital. And the only 2 out of the 9 that didn't check up on him were the twins, myself and my twin sister. So I know this information because my twin sister hits me up. She goes, yo, Kevin, Dawn, which is his ex-wife, Dawn says, blah, blah, blah. You and your brother didn't check up on your father, this and that. I'm looking at, because my sister already know what I'm going to say. I'm like, what is up with all these adults in this revisionist history? This man didn't raise me. I don't know him. For me, it's just another stranger in the hospital. Am I going in the hospital and checking up on everybody, every Tom, Dick, and Harry? Mofo, I don't know you. So then, you know what? I said, you know what? I will just avoid whatever problem this may create. I just shot him a text. It was very plain. Hey,
Bland.
just checking up
Very
on you. Hope you're okay.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
I was with my girl at the time. She helped me craft the text. That's how serious this was.
Wow.
He was just kind of like, you don't say dad, you don't call him dad, because she was asking me when she was coming up with the text. I go, no. She goes, you've never called
so
your
what do you
dad,
call your father?
I call him nothing. I remember when I was younger at his house, the landline, remember those? The house phone rang, and I needed to get his attention. I was just like, you.
You said you to your dad.
Yep, you goddamn no. I said you to some stranger that picked me up when I was 11 and brought me to some house in Long Island to meet the rest of his kids. That's who I said you to. All right.
Honestly, you need to sit down because life is short.
I'm sitting down already, Danny.
I mean, you need to sit down with your dad or with you or whatever his name is.
I have no problem with him. I have his entire name. I'm not a junior, but my middle name is Danny.
But you need to tell him exactly how you felt when he abandoned you and your twin sister. He needs to know because obviously
you don't think he knows. He knows. He doesn't care.
If he does know, why would he be shocked that you guys didn't even respond? Like didn't even check up on
because he's at a point in his life that he's never been. You have to understand, Danny. Aging is a beautiful thing. What makes it beautiful? Everyone doesn't get to do it. But what's interesting about aging is that if you live long enough, you're going to become all the things that you never thought you would be. And that's good or bad. You're going to experience all the things you never thought you'd experience. And that's good or bad. You're going to be in scenarios that you thought you knew you would be, what you would do if this happened to you. And now you're doing the thing that the other person did that you thought, I can't believe that person did that. Like if you live long enough, all those things are going to happen. So this man is now living long enough to now be of an age where he thinks, I'm this old and I need help. Where are all the fruits of my labor? Well, sir, you let them roll down the hill and they found other trees and sources of nutrients that helped them become a different fruit. And now they're not the fruit that you thought you bared. All right?
So let me ask you a question. You're such a great dad.
Sure.
Is it like 50-50? Like kids, like some kids get abandoned, they become who they abandoned are to their kids. Well, and some kids is a complete opposite and is very nurturing because you're very nurturing to your son.
Danny, it's the common story with the two sons and alcoholic father. One son grows up to be just like the alcoholic father. The other son doesn't touch it at all. Right? So that's what's going to happen from it. So when it comes to my son, I think that's exactly what it was. It made me, Carmelo Anthony was speaking about this on his podcast that he has with that comedian.
Was it Cat Williams?
Jesus and Mero. Remember Jesus and Mero?
Yes.
This is with Mero. He has a podcast with Mero. And he was talking about fatherhood for him because he didn't grow up with a father. So by the time Carmelo Anthony was a father, this guy's already a millionaire. He has all, in terms of Black people, in our eyes, his problems are solved, because money isn't an issue. Money solves once you take that out of the equation, we can figure out other things. All right, what other problem do we have, Because the money thing is good. Yeah, we got the beach house, the second house.
Hey.
So for Carmelo, having this son, for him was just like, yes, he was his son, but it was like a little brother. Because now it's just like, I'm going to bring this little mofo everywhere with me. And that's exactly, as I'm hearing him talk, I never thought I could relate to Carmelo Anthony in any way because I'm not 6'8", 250, played basketball for Rutgers and was a beast. I was never that. I never backed Lala Anthony, or do I think I ever could? But
you could.
You think I could? All right, I'm going to shoot my shot.
Yeah, you could.
My girl's going to be
No.
You're right. I'm not. You're right. I got a girl, but she's great.
I love
she's
her.
Great.
She's
great.
Perfect match.
Is she Lala Anthony? But Lala Anthony isn't her, so it's cool. And you're right. We are the perfect match.
Yeah. Yes.
Because what you need is somebody who compliments you, not someone that's just great. That's it. When it comes to me having my son and hearing Carmelo Anthony speak, I'm just kind of like, that's my exact experience. I felt like, not that I don't have a little brother, but I felt like I really had this little brother. And I swear to God, my girl at the time literally gave birth to him, and I pretty much like, thank you, got it.
Really?
Later. I brought him everywhere with me. Like where right now I'm recording this in this entertainment company called Untouchable Events, who I used to be exclusive with. Now I freelance, but I was with them for a good 10 years exclusive with just this company. And they're in the city down in the Flatiron district. My son has been in this office so many times because I've had meetings. I have to bring him to things. And of course, my clientele are all families. These people love the fact that I'm a father. They love seeing my little son. They love seeing me experience all these moments because now I grew up. He grew up in this, watched me growing up in this business. And now I'm getting ready to host events for kids that are the same age as my son. And it's just like, what?
But what would have happened if you and Carmela had a girl then?
I probably would have went to the grocery store to get that carton of milk and never saw her again. Girls are hard. Girls are hard to raise.
See,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Saying, like, okay, you have a little brother with you. Carmela has his son with a little brother. Yep. What would have happened if you had a girl? Would it have been the same vibe? Would it have been the same vibe?
Danny, let me tell you this. One is going to be a different vibe, but at the same.
So you wouldn't bring the girl. You wouldn't bring the girl with you. You wouldn't bring a little girl.
So I have a niece. I have a couple of nieces, but my very first niece, which came from my twin sister. So one, she's already my niece, but two, the added pleasure of her coming from my twin sister. She's my daughter.
Yes.
And unfortunately, her father was absent. I mean, he tried, but he wasn't a very good trier. Some people are horrible triers. He falls in that category.
I feel like a horrible trier is someone who's not trying.
That is, I mean, yeah, that's it right there. You know, they always say never.
There's no such thing as a.
And sometimes it's kind of like, oh, it probably would have been better if you never even tried, you know? Anyway, he was absent, so I stepped it up. But even if he wasn't absent, it's my twin sister's daughter. I would have been all up in that girl's grill. Yes. So she was the first of her kind, being my first niece. And it made me realize she created the pattern of these little girls being born in my family hate me for the first 2 years of their life. Like they're afraid of me because I'm just too much. As you can see, I'm just a lot. I'm in their face. You know, I'm in their face. So these little girls are like,
who is that?
And then, you know, they see me the first time, they're like, second time, third time, 2 now months are going by. Then after a while, it's just kind of like, this guy's so stupid. You know, it's just, this guy's silly.
Do you think they're looking at you because they're probably saying that you're not my dad?
No, I don't think they're thinking that. The kids don't.
No,
I don't think.
No, but they know they're animals. You know, don't you know your parents smell?
Yes.
Don't you know?
Yes.
You know.
You're right. And the voice, all that stuff.
Voice,
yes.
When they're in the belly, they can hear. I mean, the skin is not that thick. They can hear voices around and stuff like that. No, so your voice, if your voice sounds familiar, they would have looked at you with a familiar face, like, oh, I know that voice.
Well, I just realized we're like almost 30 minutes in, and we haven't spoken about any topics. Sorry, y'all. Danny's my girl, so we just be vibing sometimes. You know, by sometimes I mean every single time we speak.
I know.
That's just how it goes. You know, we dropping gems to you guys, but I'm gonna finish the story. I don't care. We'll talk about hot topics at another time. So So when it came to my niece, I think you're right. Kids definitely know they have that bond with their parents, but because her father was absent, I think that bond maybe happened with me because that girl had a sweet 16. That little girl I'm talking about who's 18 now, she had a sweet 16 2 years ago, and I was her third candle. And she spoke about me saying that my uncle was my father, you know, and she spoke very highly of me. And my niece started the trend of like all the uncles, because remember, it's 9 of us. So I have 5 sisters and 3 other brothers. And since we have all these nieces and nephews, sometimes it can get confusing. You have to add like uncle this, auntie this. But when it comes to the uncles, all the nieces and nephews know when you just say uncle, you're talking about Kevin. Kevin is uncle. Yeah, Kevin is uncle. And my niece started that. You know, Kevin is uncle. So she was, deathly afraid of me because I was a lot. Then after a while, a switch goes off, and they're just kind of like, nope, I think I like him better than everyone else. And
wow. Well, you are a likable person. You are a likable person. But, you know, let me just tell you something. I'm so happy, even though her father was absent, she had father figures in her life.
She did, because that's important. Because that's what
I tell. That is important. That is important.
Mothers. Like, cool, the guy's not doing his job. Pivot. Find a mentor.
Pivot.
Get any man around.
Yes.
I know you think. Not any man. You know, you're right.
No.
Because I get it. Smokey on the corner is an entrepreneur because he has a bunch of people running drugs for him. But that's not the type of entrepreneur we want around. We want around our babies.
No. We want positive men that can be not father figures, but for them to see men in a positive light. Because what happens is when there's absentee fathers, and that goes for boys and girls.
Correct.
If you don't have like positive men around them, then they go searching for it, and sometimes they search for it and pick the wrong partner because they didn't have the example at home to see what the right partner, the right person would be.
You are absolutely
so it's great. See, because she's going to marry or choose guys just somebody like you.
Me. Somebody like me.
Because you're the example.
But no, if I had a girl, there would be no difference. You know, I would. And the thing is, I wouldn't even think my daughter would be a girly girl. If she loves her father as much as I think she would love her father being me,
well, girls
she would adapt to the fact that I'm so athletic. She's going to want to be athletic. Like there's a reason why my son is so athletic. He's already, he has it naturally, but it's a gift that you're born with. But if you don't treat your gift properly, you're going to lose it. If you don't if you don't use it, you lose it. So he knows how to use his gift of athleticism because he's watched me. I've shown him the way. And sure, it's beautiful that kids have an imagination, but there's certain things you don't want them to have to imagine. You don't want them to have to imagine.
You want someone who's present. You want someone who's present. So I understand your.
So my daughter would be athletic. My daughter would be a G. She'd be a track star. She'd be on the football team, even though I don't like football, but she'd be on the football team just to prove a point that the boys can't hang with her. Her daddy's too nasty. He taught her too many things. So I still love my daughter all the same, but I am happy I was blessed with a baby boy because the Lord knows.
But it's never too late. You could.
No, it's too late. No. What's that?
Oh, wait.
Clock, ding, ding, alarm went off. No thanks.
Oh, so you guys are not gonna have any kids? You're done?
No.
Oh yeah, you better.
First of all, you know the saying. You know how the saying goes.
Nah, like you're not, or not.
There's a very.
I will.
No, I'll say not. I'll say no, as if. Do guys have a choice?
Okay, thank you.
I don't think guys have a choice in the matter unless they go out and get a vasectomy and pray that the doctor did a good job.
Yeah.
But I don't think guys have a choice, which leads me to another quote that I love, that men are the gatekeepers to marriage and women are the gatekeepers to children. I'll break it down. Men are the gatekeepers to marriage. There's a reason why it's frowned upon when a girl gets down on one knee and proposes to a man.
Why is it frowned upon?
Because traditionally, it's the man that is opening up this commitment where we're going to bond and say, like, hey, you know what? I've made it this far in my life, and I think I need you to continue on my effort of being great and acquiring more land, making a bigger name for myself.
More money.
Yeah, because you do know marriage was. It very much was a partnership, but it was even more so back then. People are trying to make it lovey-dovey now just because of Hallmark and Valentine's Day and all the things that go with it. But back in the day, it was even more so lined up as a business. You know, with
that's why we're partners. We're partners. We signed a contract.
So the reason why, and the families were involved. There wasn't two people making a decision. It was a whole family over here and a whole family over here.
And they had to join. They had to join together. The whole family has to join together.
So I say, so the reason why it's frowned upon now for a girl to propose marriage to a man is like, you're not the person that's supposed to initiate this contract. You know, gender-wise, yes, there are two genders in this instance. And one is a man, one is a woman, and the woman's supposed to receive the proposal. The man's supposed to give the proposal. That's how it is across the board with all religions, from what I know.
So if a girl or your significant other asked you, would the answer be no, because you feel like you're the one that has to be asked? So you have to ask your significant other?
I'll tell you right now, I know who I'm with. And I am with very much a traditional gal. You know, she's a girly girl. I do love that she's comfortable enough around me to be her most feminine self. You know, she doesn't choose to does she have some masculinity in her? Absolutely. When it comes to the workplace and how she runs her meetings and business.
The workplace doesn't give you a choice.
That is true.
In corporate America, I remember one time I cried in my earliest 20s.
You cried? How dare you?
I know, I cried, and my manager was a woman. She got me in the office and she was like,
"We not know this
something right now." She's like, "I'm going to tell you right now. If you're going to cry again, you better stomp your feet underneath the desk. You better do something to make those tears just stay inside, or say, excuse me, I got to run to the bathroom real quick."
Yes.
Because it was like, in corporate world, it's like a sign of a weakness. And then from that point on, I got into like this man mode now. I am feminine, but when it came to work and like the drive, I just studied men. I used to play sports, so I'm like, okay, I gotta be like a man. I gotta be like a man. That's how when you said yesterday, I was like, oh, I'm the queen of pivot because I used to play basketball.
Yeah.
So when one person used to block you this way, we used to spin around and go
Danny's
the other
tall.
way.
How tall are you? Like 5'7", 5'8"?
I know. I'm actually 5'9". I'm 5'9". Are you 5'9"? Am I taller than you? No, I'm not taller than you. I've been next to you.
No,
I'm taller than you.
I'm 5'9". I'm 5'9".
Oh, we're the same height.
And what's insane is that I've been 5'9" since I was 13 years old. I thought I was going to be this
you never
humongous
grew
person.
after that?
I was a freshman in high school and never got any taller.
You wasn't drinking your milk. You wasn't taking your vitamins,
Listen,
and you wasn't stretching.
It's not that I wasn't drinking my milk, because I was drinking my milk with Lucky Charms. That's the problem.
It's like I have a love-hate relationship with cereal. Like I love it, but it's not. I feel personally it has too much sugar.
Well, they all do. That's how it gets addicted. But what are your top three? Top three sugar cereals. Go ahead. Top three. Give it to me.
Okay, top three is Fruit Loops. Fruity
That's my mom's
Pebbles.
favorite. Fruity Pebbles. Oh, it gets soggy too quick. I can't do it.
No, you know what I like? I like it on top of ice cream.
Yeah.
So I actually buy the cereal box. So then when I'm doing ice cream, like vanilla, I like to put it on. I like to put it on top of ice cream.
I've never tried that.
And I like Honey Nut Cheerios. That's like a classic.
All right, I'll give you my top three.
Okay.
My top three: Frosted Flakes. That was my mom's favorite, so they're always in the house.
Remember this? You're a
great Tony.
I'm telling my age.
My second one, and this hurts me to say, put this as second, because everyone that knows me would have thought this was number one, because it was my number one for the first 25 years of my life. But number two is going to be Lucky Charms. Lucky Charms is number two.
Oh, my kids love Lucky Charms.
I love me some Lucky Charms. I'm the type I would eat all the grains out, save all the marshmallows, eat all the marshmallows, and then I always love the milk that's left. I would always, not only do I love the milk, but I would put a couple of ice cubes in my cereal, so by the time there's milk left, it's still nice and cold. Yeah,
really, that's a good trick.
Yeah, I love doing that.
I have an
aunt that's the complete opposite of me. She actually warms up her milk and then puts the cereal in it.
No, that'll make the cereal more soggy.
She loves it.
Hot, it's gonna melt.
She loves it. She loves it. Anyway, so what eclipsed my favorite cereal for most of my life? Waffle Crisp.
I never had that before.
So good. And you know what? They don't even sell them they don't run them in a lot of these stores anymore. I don't know what happened. My girlfriend surprised me after I didn't have it for years.
Amazon.
I don't know where she got it from. I think they sell it. I'm pretty sure they sell it. I'm pretty sure they sell it at one of the supermarkets near her, because her and I are on opposite ends. I'm in Brooklyn. She's up near Westchester. So they got some good stuff up in Westchester. I got to stop in. But you know what? I have a fun idea. Because, I have a heart out in 4 minutes, because for you guys at home, it's March Madness. We got St. John's in the Final Four. I'm headed to Madison Square Garden. I saw some UConn Huskies on the way in when I came here to do this podcast. I'm looking at them just like, y'all are going down. I'm not even sure if we're playing you, but I don't care. You're not St. John's. I don't want to see it. It's all about St. John's, baby. It's all about St. John's. All about St. John's. Let's go. Let's go. So this is what we're going to do.
Wait, did you go to St. John's?
Did I go to St. John's? After all that, you going to ask me if I went to St. John's? Of course I went to St. John's.
You went to St. John's.
St. John's.
Oh my God.
College of Professional Studies. 09, baby. 09, baby.
Anyway. So you think they're gonna make the Final Four?
They're in the Final Four is what I'm trying to say.
They're in the Final Four?
Yeah, I'm going right now to go see them. They're in the Final Four. Listen, it's pandemonium down at the Garden right now. It's nuts.
God.
Yes, it's insane. I don't know any other team in it other than UConn, because I walked past the crazy crowd, but I don't even care. This is all about St. John's. We're finally good again. They were terrible during my years, but they were okay enough to pop into Carnesecca Arena and watch. But now, in this day and age, as I speak, March 2024, they are in the Final Four. March Madness is going to be Red Storm, baby. Let's go.
All right. Well, let's go New York. Let's go St. John's. Let's go. I mean, we need one basketball team to win in New York, because the Knicks, they always be failing us all the time.
You know what? The Knicks are looking good this year. They're looking very good this year. I mean, they're not going, but they're still good enough to get keep our hopes up for another year, which I appreciate. Around this time, we would already been looking at other teams. You know?
No. They're still good enough where people will still go and buy tickets.
Right. Those New York Knicks tickets are insane. So if you're a real Brooklynite like myself, you just wait till they come to the Barclays Center to play the Brooklyn Nets to get the cheaper tickets, and you can still see them. So
really?
Yeah.
The Brooklyn Nets is cheaper?
Of course. What you mean? You're comparing the Barclays Center to Madison Square Garden, 34th Street, Penn Station. I mean, this is the Mecca.
Manhattan property.
That's the pinnacle of like this is where athletes come to have their moment. You know, Jordan had his moment in the Garden. Kobe had his moment in the Garden. Like that's where athletes come to play their best, is in the Garden. So this is about to be nuts right now. And some of the craziest fans you'll ever see are sports fans. Like for them, that is their religion. That is their Bible. You know, they have their teams that they ride hard for and die hard for. And I love it. I'm not that much of an extremist. I could care less if my team loses, but I like being around the energy because there's real energy and I can feel all of it.
It's real. It's real happiness. That's why I think Sports in America. I love Sports in America because that's the only time where I feel like we have some sort of like real joy, like this real.
Well, it bonds people together. There's nothing like
high five. Yeah.
The only thing that could bond people across different religions and worldviews other than sports is music. The two of them are one and the same. What sports and music could do to people, two people who have completely different sides of the track, completely different beliefs, different upbringing, socioeconomic, all that stuff. Sports and music will bring those two people together. I promise you.
And what is it about sports and music? Why?
Well, everyone likes to have someone. Everyone, for me, running group fitness classes and just doing group activities and being in front of a lot of people.
You love music.
I do, but nothing bonds people together like having something in common with somebody. So if you're rooting for the same team as somebody, you guys are automatically friends. You probably know the same history as that person. If not, they're going to put you on. The point is, you now have something to speak about with that person forever. There's some people that only speak about that with certain people when they see them. That's the only thing they have in common. So when they see them, like, you best believe I'm going to be talking about the Knicks. Because I know this person saw the game because they like the Knicks just as much as me.
And you know what? You're so right. Because I noticed with sports and music, your color doesn't matter. Because I go to games sometimes. Everyone's high-fiving each other. Don't matter if you're white, black.
They love it. They love it.
Everyone's happy. You go to a concert together. We like the same music. You're sitting next to somebody. You're high-fiving. You're toasting. I mean, so that is like, you're right. Those are the only two times where politics is not involved at all. Thank God. And it's just like people are just in a groove of just a good vibe, a great vibe. So,
but Danni,
oh my God,
I hate to kill this vibe. Don't kill my vibe. But it's time for me to be one of those sports people. Be out there with the Johnnies. Okay.
Yes.
Let's go St. John's. Let's do this, baby. That's right. I even put my studs in today just because I wanted to be shining on them. I mean, these cost like $5 from Claire's, but I don't care. They still gonna be shining. I want
to ask you one more question before I go. I always see you in the subway, and yesterday, there was there's crime in the subway. Crime is up in the subway. Are you honestly afraid to take the subway? Because I saw you in the subway earlier today in your stories, and you were just laughing and chill, and I was just like, did he know that someone got shot in the head yesterday, like randomly? Like,
I can't say that I am afraid of being in the subway because I grew up in this. It's kind of like asking someone from a third world country, do they feel unsafe in the neighborhood they grew up in? They don't. Like, these people know me. Nothing's happened to me here. I feel safe here. So for me, being in the subway, like, I'm a New Yorker. I could be sleeping, but you best believe I'm wide awake at the same time. I see the crazy person, I'll just go a cart down. I'll just go to the end of this train cart. Like, it doesn't bother me. I will say, since the pandemic, I've seen a spike in the amount of crazy people that are on the train. I don't care what time of day you're going. I have early clients that I train in the morning. So I'm catching the 5:34 a.m. train to get to 6:30 on the Upper East Side. And train carts are littered with homeless people just sleeping. And then now I'm finished with my day, finished training 6 clients from 6:30 to 12:30. Now I'm heading back to Brooklyn for some R&R before I have to go back out into the city for some client meetings. And on my way back to Brooklyn, now it's dead in terms of there's not a lot of commuters because it's supposed to be a dead time, full of crazy people. Each cart has crazy people. I think, well, it's a known fact that they didn't have enough space to house a lot of these people with mental
You
illness.
know why? Because they closed all the mental
They didn't have the space.
illness hospitals.
You know,
They
Danny,
closed them down.
because they didn't have enough space, which is why we need war, because there's too many people in New York City, and we need to clear out this congestion. All right? Look at that.
But you know
Full
what,
circle.
baby?
Full circle.
No,
Full circle, Danny.
I'm a woman. I'm a woman. I'm a mom. I'm a woman of peace.
Listen, of course, I don't want any war. I don't want any war,
Yes.
but you know, people just don't just do the right thing. Be smart. Don't repeat your parents' mistakes. Don't have babies when you can't afford them. You won't buy that Porsche, right? Because you can't afford it. Then don't have a kid. Think of the same way. Can't afford it. Don't do it, because you're not just ruining your life and that kid's life. You're ruining the economy around it. It's a bigger picture than just you and your little family. Become a dink. Double income, no kids. They are thriving.
So do you think that's going to be the new trend? All right, I know you got to go, but do you think that's going to be the new trend?
It is the new trend. It's happening already. These younger people see what these people, they know that their lives are expensive. That's the thing, the difference. Remember when you were younger, you didn't know how much these classes cost to go here and do this. Kids are aware of what's happening. They see the big picture. They see all the pictures. They get all the frames now. They're not waiting for mommy and daddy to tell them this when they turn 16. They learned about it when they were 9, when they just Googled it.
I know.
You know, it's different now. But I really got to go, though. I
Okay,
got to go. I love you, Danny.
Go.
Proud of you, sis.
I'm proud of you, sis. I'll see you next month, and I'm going to continue the show. So have a great time. And by the time you come back, I hope St. John's won the whole entire March Madness series. Come on, St. John's. Come on, New York. Let's go.
Let's go, New York. Let's go, New York. Make some noise, Dory.
Yay!
All right, there you go.
All
Peace, Daddy.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Mwah. Thank you. So, you know what? Kevin was talking about like the mental illness issues that is going on in our society right now. What happened was decades ago, there was mental hospitals where people who had, mental illness were able to stay in there, right? But after the years of them having all these mental illness people in the hospitals, all of a sudden there were budget cuts and they closed like almost all of the mental health hospitals. So where do you think that, because mental illness is a disease, so it's not like those people will, go away. So then you find those people like in the streets, in the subway, and honestly, like look, I used to take the subway when I was like 7 years old. Can you believe it? I was born and raised in Brooklyn, and back then that was the norm. We didn't have school buses, so we actually, in first grade, we would take the bus, and we would take the train with everybody there, with adults and everything. Like, and the kids right now in New York City, that's what they do, But I took the train with my kids, and now I'm looking back. I don't know if personally I would feel safe if my kids, took the train. Maybe because I now live in suburbia, and the school bus comes and picks them up in front of their house every single day. So I'm very fortunate for that. But crime has risen a lot in the subway system in New York City since after the pandemic. And the pandemic brought out a lot of things out of people. And if you were at your brink and the pandemic happened, that could have been that push that pushed you into a mental illness that you probably didn't even know you had, or it existed, or something just happened to you. So now there's, like what Kevin just said, there's a lot of homeless people, and New York, does take care of their homeless, but I feel that sometimes because the mental illness component is involved, that they choose to be homeless. So this conversation will be continued, but mental health is on an all-time high. I think it's a new pandemic, and that's within our youth all the way to adulthood. With inflation, everything is priced so high. I'm hearing foreclosures are starting to be through the roof now. I'm hearing there's going to be some banks that might collapse because of the high interest rates, that it will drive somebody crazy. It will drive somebody crazy, and there's people losing their homes. What I'm going to say about the subway system, and what my parents used to tell me, is keep your back against the wall. Don't wear anything expensive on you, and basically just be aware of your surroundings. I never understood how people have pods. You know how Kevin just said he got his pods in. I need to hear everything that's going on. And sometimes I feel like when you have those, AirPods in, or whatever you have in your ear, because you're listening to music or a podcast, or just having a conversation with your friends or loved ones, how do you have those in your ears and not be wary about if somebody comes right behind you? Because you can't, honestly, the only thing you can hear is the conversation that's going on in your ear. You really could hear your surrounding unless you have one pod off, where one ear is listening to everything that's happening around them, and then you have a pod in, having the conversation that you're having, whoever you're having a conversation with. But taking the subway is so, to me, it's so scary right now, because you don't know. Crazy doesn't look crazy to me. Sometimes you could look at people and you could tell they have mental illness, so you could just like cross the street, like Kevin said, go to another car. But there's people who look normal that you would not even know that has mental illness, and you'll be sitting right next to them, and all of a sudden, like what happened, yesterday, it could happen to any one of us. It's just my thing is this, like, I think crime is so random these days. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's more random than it was before. I'm fully aware of my environment. I pray for anyone who takes the subway system, because sometimes when I go in the subway system now, sometimes I feel like I'm trapped, because when the doors close, because that's what happened yesterday, the doors were closed, and the people in the car were screaming. Now you're stuck you're stuck within that confine of the doors, and then someone pulls a gun out, like a emotionally disturbed person. Sometimes I'm like, do they even know what they're doing? Because they have mental illness, so that means like their brain is not 100% functioning normally for them to make the appropriate decision, that pulling a gun and shooting someone in the head is not the right choice. Taking someone's life is not the right choice. And I'm not saying that everyone who murders someone or harms someone has mental illness, because there's people that don't have it. But in the circumstances that happened, they said the person did have a mental illness. We in this country are going to have to deal with the mental illness issue. We're going to have to deal with, mental health, because of social media, because of constantly being on the iPad, because of sensitivities of people now these days. Because when I was growing up, it was like a hard knock life. Like, they built us like really tough to like withstand whatever was coming our way. And I'm more aware with it with my children. Like, I'm trying to build resiliency in them, so they're not easily breaking down or easily being sensitive to things, because we live in a world with so many human beings. I think there's 6 billion plus human beings. Someone is bound to make you upset, and you have to know how to pivot and how to handle those situations without resorting to violence, especially extreme violence. Like, you have to be able to talk to people, communicate with people, instead of just going for the gun or going for the knife and just stabbing them. Like, people need to start having conversations. And that's what I mean. Like, that's why, like, this Self-Love Day is so important to me. I am the co-founder of Self-Love Day, because it is as important to normalize going to therapy, as important as it to go get our eyes checked for glasses, our teeth checked for braces, or we have a cavity and we need a root canal. to get our ears checked to make sure we can actually hear, and to get everything checked inside of our bodies to make sure it's operating proficiently, right? So we forgot about our mental health, and our brain is an organ which holds where we hold our traumas, our choices, and where we make our decisions, right? So I want to normalize, at the earliest of age of kids knowing therapy, knowing that there's a place that you can go to talk about your feelings. I I know the aim is to talk to teenagers, but I feel like personalities start being really developed and really like by the time a kid is 13 years old, they start being set in their ways. And I feel that who wants to talk to a stranger at 13 years old, especially when all your life, your family's telling you don't talk to strangers, right? I I just feel that our kids need to know that there's a place where you can go talk about your feelings, and talking about your feelings doesn't mean you're crazy, but sometimes the world could just be um, so much to handle, especially like the speed of our of everything going on. It doesn't seem like we get a day off anymore. It's always something going on every single day. Sunday used to be the day of rest. It's not even a day of rest anymore. Sunday, I feel like it's like any other day, except my kids go to Sunday school and I go to church. But besides that, like the world is not stopping. And if your mental health is not at 100% or even close to 90%, you could eventually have a breakdown. I know plenty of people who've had nervous breakdown. One minute their life is normal, something tragic happens, and they never knew they had this in them, and they just go, to the other side where the mental illness that has a hold on them that they can't get back to how their life was normal. But what about if we were able to leave our emotional baggage, like deal with our traumas like in real time, so we don't have to carry all of this on us. So me and Kevin will continue the conversation about mental health. Please, if anyone is contemplating suicide, please call the 1-800 suicide line. Your life is so important. Whatever you're going through, I know I can't say it's not important, but you are important and we want you here. So please call the 1-800 line if you ever contemplating suicide, because your life is just as important as anyone else's life. But I want to say thank you for joining. I'm proud of you, sis. Me and Kev didn't go through our lineup that we were supposed to go through. It happens sometimes because we always have like these great conversations and stuff. But I hope that you love the show, you love our energy, and I hope that you come back next week to watch I'm Proud of You, Sis. Have a great day, guys. Bye.